Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jaja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulanding. We are also producers of Jaja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gash, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gash Group also provides the best security company, Gash Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gash Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gash on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gash Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.gashglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash.
Welcome to our studio in Serekunda. This is Star TV News with me, Jacqueline Koli. In the headlines tonight, 7 new COVID-19 related deaths recorded as 67 new cases registered. Banjul Mayor launches face mask campaign. Judge sentences rapists to a fine. In the international news, African Americans return home to escape racism. COVID-19 vaccine safety concerns as countries rush for cure. Project Force, battle for resources in the Eastern Mediterranean. Those were the main headlines, now the news in details. Seven new COVID-19 related deaths recorded, bringing the total registered by the country to 50. Accrued case fatality ratio of 3.1 of samples from all 7 were collected posthumously. Dado Cham has more.
The median age of the new fatalities is 60 years, ranging from 43 to 72 years. 67 new cases registered, taking the total number of COVID-19 cases ever confirmed in the country to 1,623. This represents a 48.2% test positivity rate. 67 out of the 139 total tests performed. About 85% of the new cases are residents of Western Health Region 1. 139 new laboratory test results received from MRCG and MPHL. Of this, 21 new tests returned indeterminate and 68 tests were positive. 67 new and 1 repeat for COVID-19. 37 new discharges effected from the treatment centers, bringing the cumulative number of recoveries to date to 304, 19% recovery rate. 16 of the 18 Gambian students who recently evaded quarantine upon their return from Saudi Arabia have voluntarily reported to the quarantine centers, whereas 44% were newly taken into quarantine. 2 new discharges were made. The country currently has 396 people in quarantine, 1,269 active cases, 159 probable cases, and a crude case fatality ratio of 3.1%. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Dado Cham.
Her Lordship, the Lord Mayor of Banjul, on Thursday launched a campaign meant to provide over 100,000 face masks to the residents of Banjul as part of her council efforts in mitigating the spread of the coronavirus. Modu El Baji was there and he now reports.
The Gambia is currently experiencing a massive surge in the number of confirmed COVID-19 deaths, which has propelled the mayor of Banjul to knock on doors in order to salvage her people from the devastating effects of the virus. However, as part of her mandates to address the welfare of her subject, Rahimalik Law came up with an initiative meant to support the residents with face masks, which is one of the requirements in protecting oneself against the coronavirus. During her remarks, the Lord Mayor of Banjul, Ajirahi Malik Lo, called on the Gambians to put aside their political differences and galvanize efforts in fighting the global pandemic. While she cited examples from other countries, Mayor Lo pleaded to the diaspora to support her campaign in helping the less privileged communities.
My fellow Gambians, especially those of you in the diaspora, we in the Gambia are going through one of the most traumatic periods in our lives as we go through the COVID-19 pandemic with a heavy heart. I want to take this opportunity and call on all to put aside our differences, whether political or otherwise, and save our nation, as I intend, with your support, to provide 100,000 face masks for needy Gambians. Other countries have succeeded in the fight. For example, Ghanaians have been able to come together, leaving all their differences, be it political, ethnic, or otherwise, and put their resources together to build a hospital and revamp their health infrastructure to save lives. We can also do it. And that is why I am calling on my brothers and sisters in the diaspora to give a helping hand. The private sector in the Gambia has been overstretched, looking at what they have done over the period. The Banjul City Council, with its mega resources, has done its quota and will continue to do so. Since March, we have contributed immensely in the fight against this deadly pandemic.
Mayor Lowe further expounded on the lack of support from the central government in battling the pandemic. She also lamented on the issue of subjecting the city to a lockdown, which she said is beyond her powers as Lord Mayor.
That government has not in any way contributed to our efforts at council level, meaning that we have not so far received any funds from government to keep the citizens of Banjul safe. For those of you asking whether council can lock down the city, no, we cannot. For Banjul is the capital and the seat of central government, and the Local Government Act gives limited powers to council, whereby making it difficult to take such decisions to save lives in circumstances like this. However, it makes it all the more important for central government to put all its efforts in creating a healthy environment for the inhabitants of the capital city, but this has been neglected. People are dying on a daily basis, not only from COVID-19, but from cancer, diabetes, hypertension, and other related diseases. Our hospitals are overwhelmed with patients, and the situation continues to be very bleak.
Rahimalik Lowe applauded members of the Gambia Red Cross, civil society organizations, and the staffs of the City Council for their relentless determination during the course of this pandemic. Meanwhile, an unidentified native of Banjul donated 50 bed seats to the City Council in supporting the fight against the novel coronavirus. For Star TV, I am Modu Elbaji.
Magistrate Mohamed Kurubali of the Brikama Court on Friday convicted and sentenced Yoruba to a fine of $5,000 in default to serve 6 months in prison. He also ordered him to pay $15,000 to the victim for compensation in default to serve 1 year in prison, and the sentence term shall run concurrently, depending on whether the convict meets the court's order or not. Dado Cham tells us more.
The court ordered the prison officers to take the convict, who is confirmed to be tuberculosis patient, to the hospital for treatment and ensuring that he does not transmit the disease to any other person. Mr. Bass' conviction came after he was found guilty of raping a minor in Falatu village. He was arraigned on Thursday and pledged guilty instantly. Narrating the facts, Police Prosecutor 4906 Bangura said the victim, who was passing by the Bass compound gate, was given $100 as a salibo by Bar. The convict further told the victim to go inside his house to bring him water to drink, and while the minor proceeded to that house, the convict followed her in his room, closed the door, and put her on his bed, Bangura told the court. The case supposed to come up on Monday at 1 p.m. for appropriate sentencing, but due to his health, it was done ahead of time. The prosecution told the court upon all the contact with the family of the convict, he has a contagious disease, which may be transmitted to others in the event he is still kept in detention. So as the convict awaits a sentencing, they deem imprudent and necessary to bring the accused before the court and crave the court's indulgence to proceed. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Dado Cham.
We will go for a short break. We'll be back with the international scene.
Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gosh, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jaja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulanding. We are also producers of Jaja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gosh, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gosh Group also provides the best security company, Gash Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gash Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gash on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gash Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.gashglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash.
Black Americans are being invited to migrate to West African countries. Ghana and Senegal are encouraging them to settle, explore and invest. Al Jazeera's Nicholas Haig met some in Dakar who said they wanted to leave racism and division behind in the US.
I know a certain look, you know. Just no. I know what the person is thinking. Like,
go back to Africa.
That's black. The black guy just walked in.
In the insult, African Americans Jalisa George and Pape Souley heard a calling. They moved to Senegal's capital Dakar to find an escape from the racial tensions and the divisive politics at home in America.
People are like, oh, go back to Africa. Well, why are we so afraid to leave America?
Yeah. You don't gotta always look to the corner all the time. Like, there's like a sense of like, I don't know, welcoming that feels really warm, you know. Just like everyone looks at you and they're like, you look like me and I look like you and it's okay.
Maybe this is home. Maybe this is the land where we come and possess and we make it just like what America was.
It's the year of return, an invitation from West African countries like Senegal and Ghana to Americans of African descent to settle and invest in the continent. Senegal's government says hundreds of American families have settled in the country thanks to the scheme.
There is an acceleration phase, maybe due to the specific situation in the US. I won't develop about that. But I think people feel they don't need to be divisive and they can come and find common ground where everybody can celebrate, its culture, himself.
The city is replacing street names and statues of French colonial figures with African personalities. While politicians argue over whose likeness should replace them, it seems young people have already made up their minds.
Graffitis are legal in Senegal, and while they're normally used to depict Muslim religious figures, look at this one. It's called Black Excellence. You can find Stokely Carmichael, Harriet Tubman, Nina Simone, Tommy Smith, even George Floyd, African Americans that have affected the history of not just the United States, but Africa as well. And so not only can you find them on the streets, they're also taught in schools as part of the history curriculum.
It's this that prompted 17-year-old Miriam's family to move from Atlanta so that she could attend one of the African-American schools of the city, where Pape Souley teaches art and representation.
Like, learning about Columbus in the U.S. and learning about Columbus here was completely different. Back in the U.S., they kind of praised him a bit, and they're like, he discovered America, all these great things. And when I came over here, my history teacher said how terrible this man was, and this was new to me. I was like, oh no.
In settling in West Africa, they have found a new home, discovered a side of themselves they had not seen before, too often overlooked. Nicholas Hawk, Al Jazeera, Dakar.
There are more than 150,000 coronavirus vaccines in development around the world, but fewer than 10 have reached stage 3, the final phase before approval and eventual production and distribution. There are worries in the rush for a vaccine means safety is being compromised, as Al Jazeera's Gabriel Alizendo reports from New York City.
On average, it can cost more than $100 million and take years to put a vaccine through all 3 stages of development with no guarantees of success. With time of the essence in the COVID-19 pandemic, many governments are picking up the costs, taking the financial risk to help speed up the process.
The government has basically taken the risk out of it for pharmaceutical companies. They'll pay for the mass production. They'll pay for the phase 3 trials. So therefore, the companies can move right along, but in fact, mass produce the vaccine while they're doing phase 3 trials, while they're still unsure whether the vaccine works and is safe, because the government's going to pay for it.
But is safety being sacrificed for speed? It was in 1955 when a laboratory rushed out more than 100,000 batches of the polio vaccine that mistakenly contained the polio virus. The batches were recalled, but not before they led to paralysis in dozens of people and the death of some children. The incident was a sad chapter in the history of vaccine manufacturing. Fast forward to today, and Pfizer is one of the pharmaceutical companies that has a COVID-19 vaccine in stage 3 human trials. There's no guarantee it will be successful. Nevertheless, the U.S. government has given the company hundreds of millions of dollars to speed up the development process. In exchange, if the Pfizer vaccine turns out to be the one that works, the U.S. government will control the rights to the first 100 million doses. The White House is pushing ahead so fast, officials there claim they could have as much as 300 million doses available by the end of this year, in a program they're calling Operation Warp Speed. Some vaccine experts I spoke to said they hope that moving so fast doesn't lead to mishaps like what happened with the polio vaccine.
You don't actually want a vaccine that is developed at warp speed. I mean, really. You know, you want a vaccine that is developed as safely and carefully as any other vaccine that you're comfortable putting in yourself or your child.
For now, the race is on, balancing speed and safety for the elusive vaccine to end the COVID-19 pandemic. Gabriel Ozondo, Al Jazeera, New York.
Tensions are mounting in the eastern Mediterranean between countries vying for the vast deposit of natural gas that have been discovered there. The potential for military action is rising as neighbors forge new alliances and in some cases make old wounds worse in the regional scramble to secure energy rights for this century and beyond. Al Jazeera's Charlie Angela reports.
Beneath these waters in the eastern Mediterranean lies a growing source of conflict. On Monday, Turkish warships entered territory that both Greece and Turkey claim as their own, escorting a ship carrying out seismic surveys on the seabed, searching for oil and gas. On Wednesday, Greece's Prime Minister issued a stark warning.
In response to Turkey's deployment of its fleet, we have also put our armed forces on alert. I'm confident that all Greeks have the same absolute trust in the capabilities of our armed forces as I do. At the same time, though, we remain in absolute political and operational readiness. We are also mobilizing our diplomacy, notifying our friendly nations, and alerting our allies and partners. We are not alone in this effort.
One of those allies is France, who sent in 2 fighter jets and this naval warship to sail alongside Greek forces. But Turkey is ploughing ahead with plans to issue gas exploration and drilling licenses in the disputed region within weeks. This shows the exclusive economic zones of Greece, Turkey and Cyprus as defined by the United Nations. It accords Greece 71% of the Aegean Sea and Turkey 8.8%. But this is how Turkey redraws the same map, claiming much of Greece's waters as its own. And this is the area where Turkey has started looking for oil, within its self-defined waters. But that infringes on Greece's maritime territory, according to the EU and the UN. Turkey did postpone exploration last month, following a truce brokered by Germany. But when Athens signed a new maritime deal with Egypt last week, Ankara vowed to defend its interests in the region.
Greece's attitude in the Aegean and the Mediterranean is malicious. We don't have designs on anyone's rights, but we won't let any country take away our rights.
EU foreign ministers are hoping to resolve the standoff through dialogue at the emergency summit.
Greece stated that it is ready to sit on the table and discuss with Turkey and all relevant parties in the region, as long as all the military presence in the region is withdrawn. You cannot have diplomatic discussions while you have naval vessels confronting each other into a very small geographic area.
Although the two sides seem on a collision course, both say they share a desire for dialogue and diplomacy. Charlie Angela, Al Jazeera.
Before we end the news, a recap of our main headlines. 7 new COVID-19 related deaths recorded as 67 new cases registered. Banjul Mayor launches face mask campaign. Judge sentences rapists to a fine. In the international news, African Americans return home to escape racism. COVID-19 vaccine safety concerns as countries rush for cure. Project Force, battle for resources in the Eastern Mediterranean. That's all for the edition of the news. Thank you for watching. Do stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs. Thank you.